working some basic abs crunches for this one. So you can see that I've got my knees bent and my feet are flat on the floor. I've got my elbows side to side and I'm looking straight up so that I'm not yanking at my neck. Your lower back doesn't leave the floor at all. It's a crunch and not a sit up. Your turn. Basic hips raised for this exercise. So you can see I've got my feet at shoulder width and I'm lifting all the way up to a point where I'm going past straight line from my knee to my shoulder. Now you can see my hands are on the floor for support as well, so you're welcome to do that too. Your turn to try this one. Let's everybody repeat the last two exercises. calf rollover for this exercise. You can see I'm using vertical arms in order to give me a guide, and I'm trying to keep my knees as straight as I can while throwing up those rollovers. Now I'm going to come back down, but I'm going to make sure I don't touch the floor, so you want that engagement of the lower abs, and then going straight back into it once again. Your turn. Working some side knee drops for this one. So you can see that I'm starting off with my feet in a tabletop position, trying to keep the knees and the ankles together as much as I can. And I've got some T's going with my arms so that it can support me and prevent me from tipping over. You want to try and get to the edges as much as you can without tipping. Your turn to try this one. Let's everybody repeat the last two exercises. abs tucks for this exercise. So you can see that I'm starting with extended legs, feet and knees together, and then I'm bringing my knees all the way back to my chest and then releasing all the way until I've got straight legs again. Your lower back doesn't leave the floor, and you can see that I've got my head lifted in order to support my spine. Your turn. Starting from an elbow plank, we're going to go into an obliques rotation. So what you want to do with this one is point your hand up into the air. You've got to make sure your arm's vertical when you do it, and this basically requires a 90-degree torso rotation. Your turn to try this one. Let's everybody repeat the last two exercises. starting from what looks like a supine plank, we're going to work a crisscross. Okay, so all it is just opening those legs up. Knees have got to remain nice and straight, and just switching between which leg is on top. So it's basically like semicircles around each other. Make sure your lower back is pinned against the floor and your shoulder blades are lifted in order to protect your back for this one. And again, just making sure that the legs remain nice and extended. Your turn to try it. Mini pike pulses for this one. So starting from your elbows with 2 parallel lines, you want to push up into a slight pike and come back into your straight line. And we're just going to keep these pikes going. Pump them out. Let's go. Let's everybody repeat the last 2 exercises. Side bend from a side plank position. Now, a couple of ways of doing this. You could do this with your feet stacked together, but if you have some trouble with your ankle or you don't want to put pressure on your ankles, then you could do it the way I'm doing it, with your top foot in front of the back foot. We're going to drop the hip down until it's virtually on the ground, and then we're going to lift straight back up as high as you can with it. Your turn. Renegade Rotation. This is one of my favorite plank exercises. So you've got all of your weight steady on one arm and both your feet. And then with the opposite arm, we're going to rotate and try and get your shoulder all the way down to the floor and then back all the way up with your arm pointing up in the air. We're going to do this off both sides. Your turn. Let's everybody repeat the last two exercises. Isometric glutes bridge for this exercise. So you want to make sure you've got your feet parallel at shoulder width, and we're going to lift up into a glutes bridge. You want to make sure you've got a straight line from your knees to your shoulders. You're squeezing hard with your lower back and your glutes and hamstrings, and your hands are in the air so you've got no support. Your turn. Working a supine abs plank for this one. From a supine position, we're just going to lift our legs right up. You've got to make sure your toes are pointy and your knees are nice and straight. And we want to make sure we lift up our head and shoulder blades as well to create that deep abdominal contraction. We're going to hold it there for a minute. Your turn. Let's everybody repeat the last two exercises. working some prone X crunches from a plank position. So all I'm doing is I'm basically connecting opposite knee and opposite elbow together while trying to balance in my plank position. Your turn to try this one. X crunches for this exercise. So basically, it's just a reach with your hands to the opposite knee. So we're going to get that torso rotation happening. You've got to make sure that your lower back stays on the floor. We're lifting the shoulder blades and just crunching at an angle. Your turn to try this one. Let's everybody repeat the last two exercises. Traditional plank from the hands with soft straight elbows. This is one of the easiest variations and it's a good one to get started with. Just make sure you're watching your back. You want to make sure you're not arching so that you're not losing tension on your abs, and you want to make sure you're not dipping so you're not pressuring your lower back. Your turn. supine version of the stir the pot for this exercise. So very similar to the one that you do with your suspension cables. What we're doing here is we've got our arms extended by our sides and we're just making sure that our shoulder blades are lifted. We're extending and tucking in a circular motion and changing directions every 5 repetitions. Your turn to try this one. Let's everybody repeat the last 2 exercises. Okay, starting with a side plank for this one, we're going to lift our hips up and really squeeze that inside oblique. We're going to hold it there for 45 seconds. And then what we want to do is turn around and do exactly the same thing on the other side as well. The important thing is to keep your weight on the side of your foot and keep your knees nice and straight for this one. Your turn to try it. tuck roll for this exercise. Now this is an advanced exercise, so you can see I'm pushing on the floor with parallel arms to give me some support, and I've also got my head lifted, so upper abs are engaged before I get started, and then I'm going to roll through and really continue to engage those upper abs as well as your hips and your lower abs as well. Now we're going to keep this going for 45 seconds. Your turn. Let's everybody repeat the last 2 exercises. Well done for getting through your workout today, guys. Let's take a moment to stretch and cool our body back down now. Comment and let us know what you thought of today's workout, and remember to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all the latest workouts.